Hey guys, back again with another drone video. This is the KY912 Mini Drone and it's very similar to the E99 drone I did a review on a few months earlier. There are lots of features advertised and this in many ways is like the DJI Trello. The features include dual cameras and the HD, apparently. It supports a 4-way obstacle avoidance system, which is a standout feature because a lot of these drones are built for indoor usage and the chances of crashing them are much higher, but most do not come with obstacle avoidance, and even when they do, it's usually just on the rear side, so having it on all 4 sides makes a big difference. It folds. The fixed height here means it has a stable hover, and lastly the 360 tumbling feature is where the drone does a nice little flip. Looking around the box first, you see it's available in these 2 colors. It has a 2-way remote control system, which means you'll be able to view the footage from the camera on your phone while simultaneously controlling the drone from the remote control. And my favorite thing, the mini drone having a storage compartment within the actual remote control. Opening it up, you're presented with the case. Has a good texture and the color looks good, but don't expect any kind of safety for your drone. This is exactly the same case the E99 Pro came in, so I'm expecting the quality to be on par with that drone, if not a little better due to the slightly higher price. It only comes with 1 battery, which is a shame really. I did try to look for options of buying multiple batteries, but couldn't get my hands on such a deal, so we'll just have to put up with this. These are the user guides, the leaflet for quick instructions on how to install the app, get connected to the drone, and some info of the features within the app, like gesture recognition and special effects. The user manual is much more detailed, has a good set of instructions about everything else from the remote control to flying preparation. This little bag has a screwdriver, a micro USB charging cable, some spare propellers and some propeller guards. This thing is the phone holder to be installed on top of the remote control, and finally the remote control with the little drone inside. Feels very light even with the drone inside, and the material is without doubt some kind of cheap plastic. The drone feels a bit better in terms of build quality and it's tiny. This is the 4-way obstacle avoidance system. There's a camera at the rear and another under the drone here. A couple of LED lights here and the power button on top here. Here's a quick comparison to the E99 Pro. So not just the case, but the internal packaging is also pretty identical. Just look at these side by side, you can see it has the same kind of foam, the same pocket on this side, and even the instructions plus the user manual are very similar. There are obviously differences between them in size. For example, the battery, bigger on the E99 Pro compared to the Mini. The propellers, propeller guards, charging cable and screw are all very similar, but they're different enough to stop them being used across both. The drone, for obvious reasons, is very different as one has a much smaller build, but the quality on the KY912 feels better than it does on the E99 Pro. With the arms unfolded, you can see just how small the Mini actually is. Side by side, the remote control on the E99 Pro looks much smaller and puts the KY912 to shame in terms of build quality. This honestly feels like a DJI Mavic Air controller compared to this, more like a 3D printed box. I've just hit 500 subs and it means the world to me. Big shout out to those who have supported me in this journey so far, and we're just getting started. As a big thank you, I'll also be giving away both these drones, and I understand that feels a little cheap, so I'll also be giving away a £100 Amazon voucher with it. If you'd like to win, all you have to do is like the video, comment down a suggestion for a future video, and follow me on my social media handles. Full details in the description below. Now back to the video. To get connected, firstly put the battery on charge, scan this QR code to install the app. It has an app on the Play Store and also on the App Store, so definitely safer than the usual APK and dodgy links. Once installed, power on the drone by pressing the power button for a couple of seconds. You'll see the LED lights flashing, which is an indicator that it is now searching for a connection. Now if you only want to connect to the remote control, just click the power button and you're good to go. The LED lights should now stop flashing, maintaining a solid white color. If you would like to additionally connect to the phone, head to the Wi-Fi settings and choose a name starting with KY. Head over to the app and there you have it, connected to both the remote control and the phone at the same time. You can also use the phone as a remote control, but I would avoid that. The app interface is terrible. Let me quickly take you through the options on the remote control. So the first one is the ascend button, where the drone rises 5 feet off the ground. and then the descend button to land the drone. Then you have the 4 buttons for fine-tuning the position of the drone to give you a stable hover. Now it does react to these, but even with this adjustment, it still fails to maintain a steady hover and starts to drift. On the top here you have a button that switches the obstacle avoidance on and off. It's a good idea to keep it on, but make sure you're in a spacey area because it can go a little wild. On the top right you have the button for the 360 flip. These buttons on the bottom left and right are pretty useless and I don't think they do anything. This one is a speed switch and this one is meant to be a return to home plus a headless mode. Both did not work for me, and even if they did, it's not something I'd ever use, especially indoors. And finally the joysticks. They work like any other joystick really. The right side to move forward, backwards, right and left. The ones on the left is to ascend, descend, turn left and turn right. One thing the remote control doesn't have are buttons for taking a picture or starting a video. That's something you'd have to do from the connected device, which looks something like this. Starting with the basic app interface, you'll notice a few options at the top. The first is the image capture. As you can see, the quality is equally bad. Then you have the video recording button. It struggles with movement, leaving a blurry trail-like effect, plus it also tends to freeze in its path every so often. It also has 50 times zoom. Clearly. This media folder is where both the images and video recordings are stored. The videos for some reason aren't stored properly most of the time, and I don't know if these are dummy buttons, but they clearly don't seem to be doing anything. This is the same button you saw on the remote control for the speed switch, and this is to show the remote control on screen. It's absolutely terrible, so just beware if you're going to use it. And if that wasn't enough, clicking this settings icon presents you with even more options. These ones are a little better in my opinion. This one to make use of some filters with some cool options. There's an option to add music to any captured footage. Now let's head outside and see how well this works. So there it is, and as you can see, I'm struggling to get it to maintain its position. The arrow keys for the stability aren't helping, and I'm literally just trying to control this using the joysticks. It does manage to do the 360 flip though. The wind isn't strong, but overall, this somehow performed better than the E99 Pro, which just drifted away with the wind completely. The obstacle avoidance system also doesn't seem to work outside. When doing it indoors, it managed to avoid hitting the walls, but outdoors, it's a different story. This is the potato footage from the camera. Best use for this would be to catch the supernatural, since they only tend to make an appearance when the camera is at its absolute worst. Let's leave it at that. The battery takes 60 minutes to charge up, which is quite a lot for a tiny battery, and then only lasts around 7 minutes in the air. Compared to the E99 Pro, which lasted around 10 minutes, that's a real shame to be honest, as there is less weight to carry, so you'd think you'd have more usage time, but that isn't the case. The performance is not bad though. The drone is responsive to the buttons from the remote control, there's no lag or delay of any sort. The drone tends to float to one side even though you have the 4 buttons to stabilize it. The obstacle avoidance system is surprisingly good for indoor usage, but fails to work outdoors. So having tried this, it definitely feels better when flying than the E99 Pro, especially with the 4-way obstacle avoidance system. It's a good drone for beginners and anyone looking to have fun with a drone indoors, with the mini size giving you more leeway when making mistakes, which adds to your overall confidence. It does cost £80 on Amazon and half that on Temu and half of that on Banggood. Make of that what you will. The size of the drone is a big plus, but on the contrary, the size of the remote control is ineffective. It doesn't feel great in the hand. Even with the drone inside the remote control, I feel the size could have still been trimmed down, especially as there is so much unused space, like having the buttons here or at the back. Anyhow, that was my review of the KY912 Mini Drone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for a chance to win both these drones plus a £100 Amazon voucher. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!